So, what's really awesome is that I am obsessed with you and Microbiome Labs. So we got to be friends because of Microbiome Labs. So we really should just say thank you to Karan and Tom for creating these revolutionary products, which is like legit. And I got to know you. And then but before that, I started using like so many of the products and was just blown away by how like they actually worked. And it wasn't, it's shocking. Like they truly healed my gut. And so I'm really excited for us to be able to share today, just some of what your capabilities are and really the technology and why people can really find relief with the products that you have. It's truly a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I agree. I have exponential things I can say thank you to our founders, Tom Bain and Karan Krishnan. They are truly salt of the earth guys. And our company is, I've been on board for 2 years now as the Colorado Territory Manager. And I've had people like yourself come into my life. I am so, so grateful. And to see how the evolution is with people and their health and how things start to improve. I mean, you and I have dialogued about the basics, and then obviously our company's been adding more products in. We are the gut specialists. That's really what we focus on. About 70 million people have gut issues. So this is a really pertinent topic, especially right now, but it's also something that's we're just scratching the surface. So in 2 years, even just being in the fold, it's unbelievable to see, how we as a company have been progressing, partnerships like working with yourself, people who are trying the products, and how inspired, and also the benefits. There's just countless cases of people reaching out to us every day saying thank you. So I feel very grateful. And I did want to say as a quick shout out, I did not know that Karan, who you've been able to meet with several times, he is a microbiologist, but he's also a virologist. So to have these two gentlemen who I highly respect, but also to have that type of person at the helm during such a year as 2020, it has been another gift that I didn't foresee coming. But to be able to reach out to him and ask questions and get direction on all kinds of things has been huge. So I'm excited to share about some products today. And I know we're going to have a couple different meetings, but let me know what I should start and kick off with first.
Well, we were talking about, really where it all began for me since, narcissist over here, which was with Megaspore and the total gut restoration. But then we really started talking about IgG as it relates to helping to neutralize toxins. So wherever you want to start, I think is great. But I think what is really just like an easy for people to understand off the bat is that, Megaspore is a spore-based probiotic. And so people can definitely wrap their minds around that. I mean, I switched to that and was like, there was a transition into it because it's a whole different game.
Yes.
It is a whole different game. But yeah, can you share just, about the total gut restoration and IgG in whichever order, just to give people the 411 on what's up with the products and how that can help them really build their immune and heal their guts and all that good stuff.
Yes. So I know that we'll have future calls. So we talked about doing a deeper dive into more of the details and ingredients and specifics as to how you would apply several of our products. So I'm excited about continuing this conversation. But to start, our flagship product is Megaspore Biotic. And in a nutshell, if I were to just say very quickly, there are obviously tons of probiotics out there. Again, the gut conversation and microbial diversity, it's very important to have a bunch of different diversity, different strains of bacteria. There's lots of ways you can increase diversity too, so we'll touch on that. But scientists link a healthy microbiome and also diverse microbiome to healthy immune function. So also a fortunate thing this year to be in the conversation around repairing your gut, helping with leaky gut, dysbiosis, endotoxemia. These are some of the terms you'll hear, but also how important that is, because that not only if you have leaky gut or you have issues, ultimately that can be linked to everything from rheumatoid arthritis to autoimmune issues to skin conditions. So there's a myriad of things that can happen if we don't have our gut in check. But on top of that, being linked to immune function is huge, because we obviously are trying to figure out, how do we navigate through this very strange world? What is coming next? And the one thing that we can do, while some people are going to vaccinate, other people are not going to, I mean, how do you do this? One thing we can all agree upon probably is that if your immune system is rocking, it definitely is going to help with responding to these viruses, I guess I'll say. And how do you do that? So Megaspore Biotic is our flagship probiotic. And again, while there's tons of probiotics out there, we use what's called spore-based probiotics, or bacteria. And this is a newer concept for a lot of people. Not every probiotic out there is spore-based. And the spore, ultimately, the word is linked to the word seed. So the spore is basically a tough outer seed coating that these 5 bacteria we work with, they're called bacillus strains, they have a tough outer coating, and that makes them highly resistant and highly resilient to a lot of things, including shipping and heat and light exposure, as well as consuming them. Because when you consume probiotics, a lot of times you might not even be consuming living bacteria because of just being shipped across into the hands of the consumer, or maybe the bottle's porous or what have you. There's different factors. So the spore, the tough outer coating, helps to resist a lot of that transportation, but also to get into the body. So the first thing I would say about bacteria is that you want to arrive alive. And again, we'll go into like a deeper dive on this in the future as to really how effective Megaspore is. But I will say what's really cool is that the bacteria we work with have been on the planet for millions of years, which sounds a little bit preposterous sometimes, but I know one of the spores we work with, a university in California found it in a honeybee that was fossilized in amber from like 10 million years ago, and they revived it. So these are really amazing, beautiful living creatures who've been around for a long time. And before we bottle our Megaspore, our founders have found this proprietary way that they create an environment, and the bacteria, since they have to protect themselves, and they go back into spore form. So I personally picture like they're like an armadillo with that tough coating, but that's what makes them very resistant. And then our founder, Kiran, is really big into science and research. So we have a lot of studies and research to back our claims, and he wanted to find out what's the survivability of these spores. So he did find that because of that tough seed coating, about 99.9% of our spores survive, again, the shipping and et cetera, but the entry point to the body is a very harsh environment. So you have 98 degrees Fahrenheit, you have gastric system, you have acids, stomach acid, bile. So if your bacteria can even survive the first leg of the journey, it's really tough to survive the second leg. So you want a living bacteria, and this is something that we have science and data to back the claims to show that these suckers survive and make it to the body. But then they're also in the body for an extended period of time, sometimes up to 3 weeks, so they're not in and out quickly. They are transient, and then they're also biphasic, which in our part 2 conversation, we'll dig more into the life cycle of a spore. But ultimately, depending on what you have on board, we all have different microbiomes, we all have different critters on board. Somebody might be the cleanest eater, but they have more pets than the next guy, or they traveled more than the next guy and have more parasites. So we never know what's on board, but these spore bacteria will come out of spore form. I picture at that point, they almost flower. But depending on what you have going on, E. coli, pathogens, parasites, bacteria, they offer different healing agents to clean up the environment, help break down the bad bugs and the critters. And then the other cool thing is, over time, once you apply this over several weeks, we start to see really beneficial keystone strains that then begin to flourish. So what's amazing is everyone's microbiome is unique to them like a snowflake. No one else has yours or mine, and we never know what's on board. And these guys, I almost like picture like they're adaptogenic. They adapt to your own body and what you have going on and what your needs are. And their whole aim is to help recondition your gut. So we call Megaspore Biotic the reconditioner of a healthy gut. And we have what's called a total gut restoration 3 product application program. But we had such great benefit with this product for so long, again, helping from skin conditions to autoimmune to candida to parasites, it goes on, that we added some other products to help round out a really nice protocol. So this is the first one, and this is our flagship, and pretty much baseline for most things we're trying to treat with people.
I mean, I loved it before, but just the way you explained all that is like, even it's more accessible. And it really is like, you know, if say you're someone who doesn't want to get into taking a ton of supplements. I mean, I have a lot of supplements. If you take nothing else, this is such an amazing supplement to help, you know, balance your gut.
It is. And so the leaky gut, just as a brief thing, a lot of people don't really know, but many different things can cause little perforations and tears, I guess you will, if you will, in our gut lining, right? So then things can leak into our bloodstream and into our body, and our body responds to that. So those kinds of things can cause food sensitivities. That's what causes the inflammatory response. And what we want to do is we want to create tighter junctions. We want to help repair the gut lining. We have a couple other products I'll mention. But in addition, we also want to balance the microbial diversity. We want to increase that diversity. So there's a lot of different things going on with why is it so important to have a healthy gut. But again, the diversity is also really important. So what I love is that if Megaspore Biotic goes into your body and starts to clean the environment, it creates an inhospitable environment, because some of the spores are releasing B vitamins, some release natural antibiotics. They're in there doing this amazing work and uniquely to your body. And so when we see certain things die off, and that's like a detox phase that may occur, which we'll talk about detoxing, that's a very common thing. So when you apply Megaspore Biotic, we always recommend what's called titrating. It's like adding in and increasing the dose slowly. So we always recommend 1 cap every other day for a week. And then you go to 1 cap a day every day for week 2. And the goal is to titrate up to weeks 3 and 4 up to 2 caps a day. In that process, some people experience a little detox, not everyone. And that's just the bad bugs or the critters that are on board that are going away, that are dying off. It's almost like, to me, like an off-gassing thing, right? So some common symptoms of some detox can be loose stools or a little extra gassiness or bloating. But some people never really listen to what we recommend. They just take 2 caps and they never say a word. So we just don't know what's going to occur. We always say move a little slowly, but not uncommon. And the good news is that if you have a little detox, they're in there working. So we recommend don't stop taking the product and unplug on them while they're in there working. Just titrate down to a little bit of a lesser dose and let them continue reconditioning, repairing, and healing the environment. When the keystone strains like Akkermansia and Bifido, we start seeing that these guys start to flourish, which is amazing. That is contributing to microbial diversity. And the diversity piece is just having a lot of different types of bacteria in your body because they have different functions. And we are walking petri dishes. We have people say, well, what do you have to kill off parasites or kill off candida? We don't want to eradicate anything. We just want to balance systems. So that's what our goal is. And so we did launch another product, I'll just mention briefly, that comes as our second step in a total gut restoration. So we came up with like a 3 to 4 month protocol. Of course, Megaspore is the baseline. So after several weeks, you are hopefully up to about 2 caps a day. And then we start to add in food that's been specifically designed to target those keystone strains that are now flourishing. And our founders did this because they were like, they're so beneficial to your body and we want to be able to feed them. So they created a clinically tested non-digestible fiber blend with 3 different ingredients that you start to also add in slowly, month 2, when you're trying to do some nice gut reparative work. And this is a combination of food that specifically is targeted. It's called the first ever precision prebiotic. It's called Mega Prebiotic. And it is a powder, and you start adding that in, and then you sort of stack it on month 2. So month 2, hopefully you're taking 2 Megaspore a day, and then you start to add in about a scoop of this. You start with a half scoop the first week, and you titrate up to a full scoop. And you do that daily for about a second month. And then you're feeding and targeting those keystone strains that have so much benefit to your body. And so when we have the next conversation, I'll dig deeper into the ingredients on this, but that's what the prebiotic's about. And what's interesting is the word pre indicates taking something first. So it's counterintuitive that you would apply it later. But the analogy I came up with is like, imagine you have a party and all these people show up to your house and you want mostly all the people in the party that you love, and there's some unruly kids. So you want to kick them out of the party. That's like booting out the bacteria, the bad bacteria. And so then the doorbell rings and more people you love show up to the party. That's like the keystone strains that are starting to flourish. So you have the food delivery service come later once you set the party straight. That's how I see that.
I love it.
Good, bad, and ugly too soon.
That is so great. I mean, you have just touched on you've just scratched the surface, but what's great is that you'll be coming back next month when we're really talking about restoration. So we'll dig a lot deeper into that.
Yes. And I'm excited about that because there's so many cool little details to mention about this, especially the ingredients in the prebiotic, because some of these products, I mean, majoritively they work for everyone, but not for everyone if you have a food sensitivity. So I like to talk about how to apply that too. And then I want to jump over to mucosa, which is our third product in our total gut restoration. But primarily before we hop off today, I really want to focus on the Mega IgG 2000 because it's a nice toxic neutralizer. But technically the third step in our total gut restoration. There goes my I think everyone has a cat or dog that likes to go on screen.
So cute.
Mega mucosa. So our mega mucosa would be the third step in our total gut restoration. And so
So
by
cute.
that's Barley. By month 3, hopefully you're taking 2 megaspore, 1 scoop of mega pre daily, and then you add in the mucosa, which has part of the ingredient that I'm going to touch on last of our mega IgG. Both of these products have bovine serum derived immunoglobulins. So it does come from bovine. It's not a vegan friendly product, but if anyone is familiar with colostrum, it's a great product for repair and immunity, and it's sort of like a dairy-free alternative to colostrum in its action of repair. So this is just the bovine serum. I'm going to talk about this last. This has part of it and some other ingredients, but this is a product that will go in and start to rebuild the lining that we have. So our intestines have what's called a mucosal gut barrier. It lines the intestines, and it should be thick and velvety in texture, and it's a filter for a lot of things, and it gets very worn thin for most people. So this is an amazing product to add in. Megaspore reconditions your gut, then you reinforce a healthy gut by feeding it with mega prebiotic, and then the mucosa comes in to start rebuilding and helping with those tight junctions and repairing things. So that's our basic breeze through of the total gut restoration, or we call it the TGR. And then we'll talk more about that in depth too when we talk.
I love it. Well, this is awesome. I have really found so much healing and relief by using these products. And as you know, an added bonus, actually the best part is that I've gotten to be connected with you and your amazing founders, and just really have gotten so much education about my gut health and how to really have a healthy gut. And, you know, there's so much going on in the world, and there's so many environmental toxins, and we really, you know, as much as I'd love to say we can get everything we need from our food and fresh, clean water and all that, we really do need support. And so I honestly cannot say enough good about what you guys have going on, and really like the brilliance behind it and the research behind it is truly amazing. So I'm excited for us to continue the conversation and share. And, you know, if anyone's interested, I'll certainly share Robyn's information. You do need to buy these products through a practitioner. And so if you go to microbiomelabs.com, there is a locator on there, I believe. People can find practitioners in their area.
Yeah, so find a practitioner should be there. And then in addition, our customer service team is amazing. And then certainly if you ever have anyone you want to give my information to, I'm happy to assist. The other thing, like you were saying too, and then if I may, I'd love to zip through this.
Yeah, please.
The other thing is too, is that there's so many different things that do impact the gut health piece. Obviously we know it impacts us every day. And we do know that we live in a pretty toxic world. Like you said, even if you're eating clean, et cetera. So we definitely would love for people to graduate and say you take Megaspore for just 6 months, or you take the total gut restoration for just 3 months. We do have maintenance dosing for the reason, not just so we can sell product, but it's because we don't sadly just graduate. You can do amazing reparative work, but our microbiome is rebombarded every day. And it is because even if you eat healthy or clean, I mean, it could be something that you're using as a cleaning agent in your house. But definitely the hidden things, the glutens and the glyphosates and the GMOs and things that you might even be trying to do your best, but there's cross-contamination. And then there's the bigger ones. We get hit with major stress, or you have to have a surgery and get on meds, or you have to take those antibiotics. And then there's the obvious dietary, drinking, smoking, other things that happen. But all of those things impact the microbiome. And then you have a year like 2020 where your stress levels go through the roof. So it's pretty amazing because you can do so much great reparative work, but it is really ideal if people are willing to even drop down to like 1 or 2 days a week of maintaining some of the products, just so you can kind of stabilize while you navigate through this world.
Yeah. So speaking of maybe those days that we eat and drink things that, you know, don't serve us at the highest and the best in the gut, but maybe give us absolute joy, that's where IgG comes in. And I rely on IgG, and I want to like talk about Wheat Rescue too eventually, because I'm obsessed, but IgG it neutralizes toxins.
Yes, IgG is definitely one of my very favorite products. This is a capsule product, and it has, again, bovine serum derived immunoglobulins. But ultimately what this is this is a product where the immunoglobulins, again, act like a colostrum, kind of alternative, but a dairy-free. So it is sourced from animal, but it is also dairy-free. So no dairy, lactose, casein, or whey. So there are other IgGs on the market. They might have egg or something else in it. So people do love the fact that it's dairy-free. But the functionality of it is ultimately these immunoglobulins will help to neutralize toxins. And I say bind lightly because it's more like gathering them up, because there are binders out there like charcoal, but they're much more aggressive. They're going to grab a lot of things. So, and they have their place, they have their purpose. This is more specific to certain pathogens, but what's really cool is it neutralizes toxins and helps collect them, I'll say, and then it helps to expel them. So when we first recommend that people start taking Megaspore Biotic, for instance, this particular product, again, if anyone's feeling a little cruddy in the die-off detox phase for just a couple days, typically it's not long, it's usually pretty benign as well, we will recommend adding some IgG in to help kind of neutralize and move that process along. But if you read about it online on our website, there's also like 10 different antigens it helps with. I think that, I want to say E. coli might be one, but I know LPS is one. So I just use this as my go-to in general. It helps the immune system. It does help with your gut health piece. I definitely take this every single day myself. I may take a break on my supplements because I like my body just to kind of calibrate, but it's definitely a staple. I know some people on our team will apply it when they have their cheater days. They might have their burger fry day, and so they take their Megaspore, but they'll also add in some IgG. When I was traveling a lot more, because I do like food, I like to try and indulge. I definitely would always bring this with me, especially if we're always exposed to toxins. That's why I take it, because I'm like, every single day there's some kind of toxic burden or load that my body is dealing with. And I love this because I grew up in the South, and our Southern rep, she calls it the biscuit that sops up the gravy.
I love it.
If you ever use that analogy, people will remember it. So I had a friend, I put on a bunch of products, checked back in 2-3 months later. I said, what are you taking again? And he said, I'm taking this, this, and this, and the biscuit. So he remembered that. But that's kind of a great action image if you can put that in your mind. So we definitely have clinical dosing where we can increase a lot of IgG for a certain period of time for certain toxicities in different cases. So it's an amazing product. I know that you were really focusing on detox, and so I wanted to definitely make sure that we talked about it. But it can be used for a lot of different situations. It doesn't have to just be our product line. I just always think when in doubt, if someone is detoxing or they're going through something, we've seen some skin rashes and things like that come up. A lot of times the conversation among our clinical team will be add in some IgG. It's something that really just alleviates, helps neutralize, and helps move people through some of the tough stuff. And so it's one of my staples. Big fan.
I love it. I take it in spades. Yeah, I love all of it. So this is awesome information. Robyn will be back with us next month to share more, and we'll share her information. So thank you, beautiful.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting. And I love that we have many more things ahead to keep doing together. So thank you for having me.
Yay.